I had an interesting experience with Cherry because the Night of the Iguana was done in Chicago first, and I was brought into the company when they came into New York, and almost everybody came from Chicago with the exception of me. So I learned a really painful lesson, actually, which was that my enthusiasm for the play, the part, Cherry, the director, Bob Falls, and the rest of the cast, and the idea of doing that particular part was so exciting to me that I didn't ask some really important questions, which was, what is the director's interpretation of the character that I'm about to play?
And in stepping into a production that's already constructed, right?
And where people have decided certain basic relationships that are antithetical to what I thought the play was about. And there came this moment, and I'm going to tell it on myself, but there came this moment in the rehearsal where I stood there for a moment and I turned to Bob Falls and I said, "You just want me to move around this stage to make your pretty pictures." And so he said, "Yes." But looking back, I should have said, "You know, I'm not right for you," because the rest of the experience was so not fulfilling for me. Because we had a very different point of view about what the character was about and what the play was about in relationship to the character. So, and then I had to then proceed to play out the remainder of the run and everything in a very frustrating, and it really was painful.
The people putting it together had an idea about what Evita should be and how Che functioned in it. That every time I tried to do something, and I'd never done a major musical like this before, every time I tried to do something, they'd say, "No, that's not right." And at one point I was told, "Go upstage and do this." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Well, Mandy did that."
And it worked.
And it works, by God.
I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, what is he doing?" They said, "Well, you're summoning the set." And I, oh! And I said, I'm summoning the set? Okay, and there was this flag that sort of came billowing down, and it was supposed to be triumphant, and then sometimes the flag would fall on the floor, and I'd go... But I said to the team, I said, "I'm not the man for you. I don't understand this." And then Hal Prince came in, because he was working on Parade of Time, and he said, "Let him do what he wants."
Yeah, that's...
And boom. And then the other time that happened was going into Cabaret, replacing in Cabaret. The production exists. It is what it is. You can't do much inside of it, you think. And then someone like Sam Mendes will come around, and Sam actually gave me a note that said, "What you did last night, when I saw it, throw it away. I loved it. Tomorrow, if you give the same performance tomorrow that you gave tonight for me, you will have failed yourself and your talent. I want you to walk out on that stage and break all the rules that they taught you when they asked you to replace in this." Because he kept saying, "You've been so inventive inside the confines of what the show is, I want you to go further." It was terrifying. I walked out the next night going, "Go left instead of right, go right, go forward." What do I do? And it's not, but it doesn't mean that all my choices the next night were good, but when a director like that comes and says, "No, you're not making pretty pictures for me. I love you and what you've done."
You as an actor and as an interpreter of the craft then understand intuitively or logically what space you have to grow in that, so as to not divert the story, so as to not divert the style and the form, and then you can become a real participant. And a good director will do that because then you can take it further than he could imagine. So consequently, if you have a number of artists doing that, then the play is something that nobody ever anticipated, the playwright didn't anticipate, and it can become a production that you know, really thrills and invigorates an audience.